Hey guys, it's Jeff. This week's Honorable Mention Monday gets awarded to House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. This is a fiction/horror novel that was released in 2000. The book has two narratives, the first being the Navidson Record, which is a documentary by Will Navidson documenting his journey through his new house. Upon returning from a trip with his family, Navidson notices a door that is inside his house that wasn't there when he left. He goes through the blueprints of the house to verify that it wasn't there, and after doing some very calculated measurements, discovers that the dimensions on the inside of his house are now larger than the outside of his house by less than an inch. This doorway leads into what he refers to as the 5.5-minute hallway, a long, dark hallway that should technically project out into his backyard, but does not. Instead, it stretches into an alternate plane, and yet he can walk into it. The Navidson Record then chronicles Navidson's journey deeper and deeper into the labyrinth that he finds at the end of that hallway, as he films himself and his colleagues traverse into even more hallways, corridors, chambers, and stairways that stretch for thousands of miles in the cold and dark to attempt to find some type of purpose or meaning as to why this place exists inside of his house. This is an artist's rendition of what the labyrinth looks like at the end of the hallway, based on descriptions in the Navidson Record. I mean, look at it, it's just incredible. I don't have a source for the artist though, so if you happen to know it, please let me know so I can add it to the description. The second narrative comes from Johnny Truant. Johnny Truant stumbles across the scattered writings of Zampano after he visits the deceased man's apartment, which when pieced together form the same House of Leaves book that you and I are both reading about the Navidson Record. And throughout the book, he offers his commentary on how this story has slowly and subtly begun to make him question his sanity and reality, as he cannot fully confirm nor deny whether the events of the Navidson Record actually took place. Not only is this a fantastic and chilling story that will literally give you nightmares and constantly make you look over your shoulder as you're reading it, Danielewski's style choice in which to portray this story is both innovative and refreshing. He often mimics what's happening in the story to reflect on the page for deeper immersion. For example, when a character is climbing a rope and the rope snaps, he stretches the word snaps across 3 different pages to give you the full effect of that rope actually snapping. So if you look on this page here, right down here, it says SN. This page has one letter on it, A. And at the top of the next page, PS, right here. Here's another example of his style choice. On this page, he shows the character going progressively lower and lower, and he makes the text follow suit. And on this page, that character goes higher and higher and higher, making the words on the page rise up. So while this book is technically over 700 pages, the actual content of the book is much shorter, especially towards the end of the book where the pages are only partially filled. Several times the print will be written backwards, actually requiring you to grab a mirror in order to read it properly. And while some of these parts aren't actually crucial to the storyline, it's a fun spin on conventional book structure. And if this layout doesn't get you excited about reading this book, then we can't be friends. Sorry. Throughout the book, Danielewski uses footnotes to offer sources as to where Zampano and Johnny Truant have gotten the material for what they've written, making the book feel even more realistic and oftentimes makes you question whether the book and the sources are actually fiction after all. This book has become a cult classic, with its followers pouring themselves into finding deeper hidden meanings throughout the text. There are forums for this book, with everyone offering connections that they've found to different sections of the story. It's the type of book that gets littered with post-it notes and reminders, piecing together key sections of the story. Just like the house, the book itself is quite literally a maze. And amazing. Danielewski also throws in weird quirks throughout the book, including his use of color. As indicated by the cover, the word house always appears in blue, and other words throughout the book that are important have their own colors as well. Since the house is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, Danielewski mirrors this with his book by making the inside of the book larger than the cover of the book by the same interval that the house is. Absolutely genius. Overall, if you're ready to take a plunge into something that strays away from the ordinary, this book is the one to do it with. Be warned though, with footnotes upon footnotes, with two different narratives, you'll oftentimes find yourself placing a finger to mark your spot as you read several pages ahead, only to turn back after you've read that section in order to continue the story. Maybe annoying for some, but I loved every minute of it. And although this video is structured and planned out, all of the details that I just mentioned are vividly fresh in my mind from when I first read this book 10 years ago, as if I had just read it yesterday. I've only read this book once. That's the type of lasting impression this book has. It just sticks with you. Ready to get lost?